Hundreds of people were pulled from their lives and families in the United States by federal agents, then put on planes to El Salvador, and are now indefinitely detained in a concentration camp run by a mad crypto king. This was all done without any due process at all, without the government even releasing the names of those who were disappeared. The only claim coming out of the Trump administration is that the individuals were members of a Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua, which the president last month deemed as a foreign terrorist organization. It's not known how many of those deported were even immigrants. Trump's deportation police at ICE had been rounding up Venezuelan men and staging them for removal, according to a lawsuit filed by the ACLU. The group feared the president would invoke the Alien Enemies Act to do so and tried to block him. Trump then did invoke the law, established first in 1798, and declared that the U.S. was under invasion and that all Venezuelan citizens over the age of 14 who are currently residing in the U.S. and are members of the gang, quote, be apprehended, restrained, secured, and removed as alien enemies. The Alien Enemies Act gives the president expanded powers during a time of war. It's only ever been used 3 times, each time during wars declared by Congress. And the last time it was used was during World War II, and in a way that we look back on as pretty fucked up. The mass internment of people of various ancestries, but mostly Japanese Americans. No war has been declared against Venezuela or Tren de Aragua. After hearing the ACLU's challenge, a federal judge issued a ruling to block the pending deportations until the court could hear arguments challenging the arrest of individual Venezuelans. Trump then defied that ruling and allowed the planes to land in El Salvador, where President Nayib Bukele cut a fascist propaganda video featuring his military hurrying captives off planes with their heads yanked down and imprisoning them in its sprawling terrorism confinement center, the largest prison in Latin America. It's built to detain 40,000 people. Despite a harsh crackdown in state violence in El Salvador, Bukele hasn't managed to fill up the prison with his own citizens, which is why he offered up space to assist Trump's mass repression campaign in the U.S. for a fee, which it appears the White House has now taken up. It paid $6 million to Bukele for these detentions. In a tweet mocking the U.S. judicial system that had ordered the flights to be turned around, Bukele wrote, "Oopsie, too late," with a cry laugh emoji. That post was then retweeted by Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Bukele detailed the nature of his arrangement with the U.S., writing that it agreed to imprison over 260 people. Quote, "The United States will pay a very low fee for them, but a high one for us." Bukele then laid out a forced labor program within the terrorism confinement center that the men will now be subjected to. Quote, "Over time, these actions, combined with the production already being generated by more than 40,000 inmates engaged in various workshops and labor under the Zero Idleness program, will help make our prison system self-sustainable." On Monday, the White House was asked to release the names of the people put on planes to El Salvador. Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt said that won't be happening. Then, when asked about due process concerns and whether the administration would release evidence to make sure that the people arrested were actually members of the Tren de Aragua gang, Leavitt said, "You'll just have to trust us on this."
Is there a way for the administration to provide more detail about how that was determined, who the individuals were that met this deportation order?
Yes, I can assure the American people that Customs and Border Patrol and ICE and the Department of Homeland Security are sure about the identities of the individuals who were on these planes.
What criteria, though, other than, say, tattoos or maybe being in the wrong place at the wrong time, are they using to determine that someone is actually a member of one of these organizations?
intelligence and the men and women on the ground in the interior of our country who are finally being allowed to do their jobs. Their hands were tied under the previous administration, and as I said, they take their jobs very seriously. They should be trusted and respected by the American public.
Not only do we have to trust them, we have to respect them too. Mind you, this is a presidential team that has already made several mistakes. At Doge, Elon Musk admitted that mistakes will be made and have been made, many of them. At the Social Security Administration, Trump's people cut off benefits to someone it claimed was dead but is still very much alive. And the president is infamous for taking out a full-page newspaper ad in 1989 calling for the death penalty for the Central Park Five, referring to the 5 Black and Latino men who were arrested and wrongly convicted of assaulting a New York City jogger. DNA evidence later exonerated them, years later, and they were freed. The point is, Trump and his team are known for getting things wrong mainly because they don't care about getting things right. They just want to break shit and be racist. I mean, we're supposed to trust the same guy who said Chuck Schumer isn't Jewish to determine who in the US is a member of some gang so they can be disappeared to El Salvador. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our new videos. Also, if you want to see Means Morning News in its complete form, not just the clips we post here, head on over to Means TV and get access to all our new episodes and our entire backlog, plus tons of other great movies and original TV shows.